Now this is something I filmed a number of years ago, and it's actually one of the better days I've had in this particular cattle shed, as now the birds have, let's say, wised up quite a bit since then, and you'll see evidence of that in this video. Plus the fact I have to be very selective in my targets as I'm shooting quite close to the cattle. It's not really the background, as the walls give me a good backstop, it's the cattle in the foreground I have to be very careful of. Here you can see quite a few jackdaws landing in the gate just above the cattle, but I go for the highest one up on the wall to give me a safer shot. The jackdaws and magpies are coming into the shed to feed in the meal in a trough set out for the calves. I'm using my .22 BSA Superten, running at about 15 foot-pounds. After taking a shot, you could wait from anything between 10 minutes to an hour before another bird comes in. And of course, while I'm watching the back door, the birds come in the front door. Now these two magpies are sitting in just a bent bit of the gate, which is making them lower to the cattle than what I actually like. Plus you can see the cattle in the foreground are agitated, they're moving about, and I don't feel confident taking the shot. It's just too close to the cattle, and as you see here in a second there, cow raises its head straight up in front of the birds. If I'd have taken the shot at that point, I'd have been serious bother. But the cows moved away now, the cattle are more settled, but of course when I go to squeeze the shot off, the magpies clear off. Back to waiting again, and while I'm watching the back door, a jackdaw sneaks in the front door. This time the bird's sitting up in the high part of the gate, the cattle are settled in the foreground feeding away, and I'm confident of taking the shot. As you can see out the back door, the jackdaws are working their way through the field, gleaning away whatever they can find. Out there they're not really doing any harm, it's only when they come into the cattle shed. A magpie slips in through the front door. I get the crosshairs on him. Look, he's scared. Couldn't have timed that better. And he just flies off as I squeeze the trigger. In a second you'll see why it has got harder to shoot the birds in the shed. Here they are sitting on the roof, keeking in through the air vents to see where I am before they actually fly into the shed. That's why it's harder now to get as big a bag as what I used to. But I've got a jackdaw on the door here. I didn't see the magpie flying in through the door, otherwise I'd have taken him. The birds come in, land on the gate, ready to drop down into the trough. Once they come in in numbers, that once they got their confidence up. But once you shoot one, they all fly out fairly quickly too. And that's what they're after, that wee trough, while we drop a meal in it. Well, back into position and back to waiting again. And I spy a magpie in the field outside. It's a nice day, there's next to no wind, and the bird's about 35 yards away from me. He's not going to give me a headshot, so when he turns face on, I put a shot straight into the heart and lungs. I'll go out and have a look for him. He hasn't gone too far before he's run out of steam. Shot was perfect, just into the edge of the bib. After a while the jackdaws start to get their courage up again. And I managed to drop another one. But that's about it for the day, as the birds have learned their lesson. It wasn't a bad bag of birds, but you do need to be patient for this sort of thing, to be able to stand still for a long period of time until you get an opportunity.